we go, let's get those wheels out on the road. It may get dusty, but that's the way she goes. We'll build some greasy old cars and drink our AGD. Hey, don't you know, it's partly built.
All right, guys, welcome back. It's Monday the 24th of June, so 3 weeks. Yeah, I got lots of stuff on my list to get started on today. So, I don't know, I'm just going to pick something, start tinkering away, and see how far I get today. None of the parts I have ordered have showed up yet, so we're just going to fly by the seat of our pants here and see what we can do. I'll get back to you later. Alright, I'm just getting ready to go home. I figured I should give an update. So I got all these patches roughed in for Josh to finish weld. Here, on the side here, on the top. I pulled the driver's seat out. I got these two patches in the corners there where we had gaps. I drilled a bunch of holes and welded in some nuts to hold the top cover down. Nothing is symmetrical, nothing is square. The plan is that they will not be permanent. The plan is, well, the nuts will be permanent, but Josh is going to make a different cover for it later, but not this year, like not before the race, because like that's just a chunk of an old hood. So he'll make it out of a nice piece of sheet metal and probably put some beads in it, like bead roll it, so that it doesn't wow. But for now, that'll work. So I'll have to come next time through here with the grinder and clean up all my welds where I welded those nuts in. And then I pre-drilled the holes in the cover. I'll just have to drill them out larger for the bolts, obviously. But then like the top cover, we'll clean up the edges a little bit on it, maybe even just take a piece of rubber hose and cut it in the middle and slide it around the edge so it's not so sharp. And then I got some foam weather stripping that we'll put on here and then just set the lid on. And then we just have to figure out access cover for the hole I made here, what we're going to do for that. But I think same thing there. I think it'll just be some captive nuts and a couple bolts, probably with like a T-handle on them or like a wing nut. Maybe even a couple bolts welded to that, and then the cover sits on. And then we got wing nuts, so it's easy to take on and off to check our oil every day, but that's the plan for that. Oh, I also tacked in the underside patch, and I tacked in this patch for Josh to weld up. We still got to fill this hole back up, but that's not a big deal. And then it's finished welding all these panels in, and the engine enclosure's done, which is a big thing to have done, is the engine enclosure. And then we'll seam seal all the cracks, and then I ordered some sound deadener, and we'll cover everything with sound deadener so it's not quite as echoey and as much of that in here. And then we'll probably do most of the floor. I don't know if we'll do where our feet go, maybe, we'll see. So yeah, I pulled the driver's seat out because I put the foam and the cover back on it, and I was looking to see how the cover was held on. Turns out that the covers are just Velcroed. So that'll be easy to put back together. So I'll just take the two bolts off, take the back off, reassemble the base, bolt that back on, and then clean the seats, and the seats are done. They're ready to go in. So that'll be a quick job for next time I'm here, which is probably going to be Wednesday. But I'm happy with the progress I got done. Josh didn't get home till 7:30, so maybe if he gets off early one of these nights, he'll get a bunch of finish welding done, or it'll have to wait till the weekend when we work on it. But at least with that stuff done, I'm not as worried. The patch panel shipped out today, and it says I should have them for Wednesday, so we'll see. And the headlight buckets are supposed to be here tomorrow, I think. So, or vice versa, I can't remember. But anyway, the patch panels and the headlight buckets should be here this week. The sound deadener I think will be late this week or early next week. So, not a lot of parts left to get. Cross my fingers, because Josh has spent a lot of money on this car. I've spent a lot of money on this car. You think when you're building something out of junk and spare parts of other vehicles that it would be cheap, but there's no such thing as a cheap race car or a cheap project. So I'm gonna call it a night. I'll catch you guys Wednesday. All right, it's Wednesday night. I'm a little bit late getting out here. Oh well. Doesn't matter because I brought parts. We got patch panels, headlight buckets. I got a gauge that'll actually show us our oil pressure and whatnot. And it's smaller than I was hoping, or than I thought it was, but it'll probably actually work better because the cab is so small. And I got myself a new welding helmet because I hate the way my old one works, so that'll just be a gift for Josh, I think. Anyway, I'm going to get stuff unboxed, take a look at my list, and I'll get started on something. All right. Headlight buckets are swapped. Now, these bulbs didn't exactly fit great because the backs of them get in the way of the adjuster, so they were a little tough to put in. Not a problem with the mount, a problem with a bulb that's not exactly for this application. Like, these are a factory bulb in a newer Freightliner, like, I don't know, the full-size Freightliners, the 122s, whatever they call those things. Anyway, doesn't matter. So I've left the bezels off for now, like the trim rings, because we'll have to adjust them once I set it back down. But yeah, really great quality, fit nice, awesome. Now on to the next step. Gauge, mounting it. Well, I should probably clean the window and be done working in the cab before we do that, because we'll probably just stick it to the windshield for now. But I ran the cord in from the OBD2, so that's pretty much done. I'm not even going to attempt to do the patch panels, which are really good quality, and they're going to fit quite nicely on there. I'm not even going to attempt that without Josh, so we're good there. Yeah, I'll just check my list. Maybe I'll start tying up wires, putting grommets on stuff. I'm just going to keep tinkering on stuff that I can do without someone that has welding talent. So another little thing I had on my list was put some rubber around the pump inside the mount here, just to quieten it down a little bit, hopefully. So I got that in there now. I'll put the pipes back up and re-zip tie the shift cable, and we'll turn the pump on and see if it's quieter. Good Lord, it should be. It can't be louder. Right, so let's find out if the pump is quieter. Oh, noticeably quieter. It's still loud, but it's like half the volume. Oh, that's fantastic. That makes me so much happier. All right, so now I think I'm going to deal with this wiring here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some holes in the outer edge of this tube, weld some nuts in it, and then just P-clamp it on there. I'll put probably 2 P-clamps, and then zip ties will work for the rest. Then I'll tuck the extra up in the back here, tie it all up, and I should put a couple grommets here and one over there for sure. Yeah, and I suppose I should P-clamp the lines that are in front of the pedals as well. So I'll get started on that next, I think. Not sure how well you'll see on camera, but I got a hole there, and a hole there. So I'll countersink in those flange nuts, weld those, and then I put 2 holes in that wheel well there for more clamps. And then I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do at the front for one more P-clamp up there to keep those wires out of the way, but I'll get started welding. Try out my new welding helmet. I doubt it's going to make me a better welder, but maybe I'll be able to see how bad I'm screwing up. So I know nobody's going to believe this, but I think the welding helmet actually made me a better welder. Because, like, those actually look pretty decent. I mean, it was either the welding helmet or the tips that my journeyman cousin gave me last night, but either way, I'm happy with those. This is my little dark-skinned friend Kyle. Hi Kyle.
Hello.
How's your polishing your knob going?
Polish.
Okay, it's Friday, we're back. I have fixed the driver's seat with the help of Kyle's dad. We got the driver's seat all fixed up, so it's ready to go in when we get the welding done. The sound deadener showed up. And I'm just working on the start button. What else did I do, Kyle? There was something else I started with. I can't remember what it was. I've been here a little while, and as you can see, Kyle got pretty dirty polishing up his headache rack. But Kyle and Josh's dad, I was struggling trying to get the seat cover to stay on the base of the driver's seat because it's Velcroed. And the Velcro is old, and there's quite a bit of tension. So I was trying to use like staples, but the staples were too short, so I tried bending nails over. That wasn't working. And then his dad just said, why don't you just use rivets with a washer on the back? So that's what we did, and it worked perfect. So the driver's seat's ready, the passenger seat's ready to go in. And I pulled out, let me see if I can find it here, this switch out of the dash, which I believe was for probably the gas heater, but I'm not 100% sure. And moved my start button to there. So now, that's the start button to start the car. It's a lot cleaner. Still got a little bit of wiring hanging down I got to tie up. But as you saw, Wednesday I got most of the wiring tied up. I got all the patch panels tacked in. And believe it or not, my new welding helmet made me, I'd like to believe that it's the reason, but made me a better welder. So I might just keep welding stuff in. See, maybe I can weld this front panel in most of the way because it's pretty good welding, or easy welding. Maybe that patch at the bottom there, weld all that stuff in. So that's just less that Josh has to do. And then if I can get all that welded, it's ready to be seam sealed. And once it's seam sealed, the sound deadener showed up today. And it actually looks to be pretty good stuff. And the price was, let's just say, very economical. Like, I've had really good luck buying stuff from these guys. And it's free shipping and really, like I said, cost effective. Because cheap refers to quality. And so far, for Chinese stuff out of a warehouse for cheap, it's been really good. I'm really impressed. So, like I said, I'm going to keep tinkering away on the welding here, I think. Hopefully it looks better than this monstrosity I did here, and the exhaust. And we'll see if we can't get some of that knocked out, so that when we come back Sunday, we can get the patch panels put in, and kind of finish up this fender and figure out what we're going to do above the struts. Because we're still working on an idea for that. But I'm going to keep tinkering away here. So it's been a couple hours since I gave the last update. So I've just been welding. And some of it went really good. And then I had a ton of trouble with the welder, and I had to play with the settings a whole bunch. And then I realized it was my own stupidity. When I cleaned the nozzle, I didn't get it on all the way, and it didn't want to go on all the way. I had to actually like clean out the nozzle itself. So like, I wasn't getting any penetration, and like it was spattering really bad, and like porosity was horrible, so it looks like absolute goose shit down here. But like up here, I actually was doing pretty good, especially for me. I mean, you can't see any of this, but like the welds, they're not the prettiest, but for me, like way better than normal. I love my new welding helmet. Like, that's one of the best purchases I've made in a while. So like I welded in this, and like I was filling huge gaps, like probably a good 1/4 inch gap. And like the welds are actually looking pretty good. And like some of the first time in a long time I've had a welder just run smooth for me. So I've got everything except for this hole filled on this panel, and then this is all welded in. But we still have to do the inner fenders. The whole front is welded in. I may or may not knock down some of the ugliness on those welds, or just seam seal over it, and who cares. So a couple more hours and the entire enclosure is welded in. So it's getting close. Like we got this side to finish, but the whole bottom's done, the whole front's done. I even got ambitious and filled a couple holes in the front of this beam here. And then I took my heat / noise dampening, whatever. What do you call that stuff? Sound deadener. I got sound deadener put on the lid, And actually I decided, you know what? I'll just weld that cover back on because it's only like 8 or 10 bolts and the whole thing comes off. If we got to do that every day or two, it's not the end of the world. Josh is going to eventually change up how that is anyway, so I'm not too concerned about it. So I think I'm going to call it a night. It's 20 to 9 already. I got to go home, have supper, but I'll be back out here Sunday. Today's Friday. And hopefully Sunday, Josh and I can get the patch panels done, get this fender figured out, and decide what we're doing for these tower covers, and maybe get the rest of the box fully welded, and then I can clean it and seam seal it. And then once it's seam sealed, I'll clean the floor too, and I can do all the sound deadener until I run out. I might have to buy another pack, but it only took like 3-4 days to get it with free shipping, so we got enough time. If I got to get more, I will. I can get thicker stuff, but like it tripled the weight of that freaking cover. So anyway, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Mayhem is, I don't know, 3 weeks? 3 weeks from today, probably when you're seeing this video, but we're getting there.